Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Oriental Mark Bolo. This is Pedro. So today we'll talk about Chinese learning. As a part-time Chinese teacher on italki, I have increasingly felt over the past 2 years that the enthusiasm for learning Chinese is growing. So especially after the pandemic, people from all over the world want to visit China to personally experience its local customs and witness the new development of the recent years. At the Belt and Road Summit on October and at the Import Expo in November, I saw more and more foreigners speaking fluent Chinese and doing business with locals. This made me realize that Chinese is gradually playing an important role on the world stage. Perhaps one day it will become a lingua franca. Maybe, who knows? So today I would like to share with you that Chinese is actually not that difficult to learn, it is even very easy. Just because Chinese is not a language based on Latin alphabets, it looks completely different from the language of Latin family, which is why it can initially appear stunting at first glance. So now I shall gracefully unveil its enigmatic allure and summarize the three biggest obstacles that foreigners encounter when learning Chinese, based on my 2 years of experience in teaching Chinese. So the first point, as is well known, each Chinese character has its own tone. There are 4 tones in Chinese. The first tone, the second tone, the third tone, the fourth tone, Pronouncing individual tones correctly seems not so difficult, but when they are combined together and placed into words or sentence, it becomes not so simple. For example, 我想和你一起去圣诞市场迎接这个梦幻的冬天. I wish to join you in embracing this magical winter at Christmas market. So the tone stands up and down in the sentence. But fortunately, even native Chinese speakers, especially those from the South, can only use about 50% of the tones correctly. However, this does not hinder their communication with people from the North. For example, my family comes from the southeast coast of China. My grandparents and parents never systematically learn the tones, so they often mispronounce them. But this does not impede our communication at all, because when speaking, understanding is primarily based on context, and pronunciation is just an auxiliary means, So while tone are difficult, but they're not that important. Therefore, please do not try to master them as a mandatory task at the very beginning. Abandon the mindset of perfectionism, speak boldly, keep trying even if you make mistakes, and don't fear mispronunciation words, because we can still understand your general meaning, so it is totally fine, No worries. So pinyin is something you will start learning initially, but don't think that you must pronounce every pinyin perfectly before moving on. Please move forward boldly and just spend maybe 5 or 10 minutes each day, just like washing your face or brushing your teeth, to practice pinyin pronunciation and the related muscle, the facial muscles. I recommend a great website for pinyin learning, so here it is. And the second point in Chinese is that the number of the Chinese characters. It's quite funny when I think about it. I have to admit, in my 4 years living in Germany, the question I've been asked most is how many Chinese characters are there in total? Actually, I didn't know at that time either. I had to Google it and found out that there are over 100,000 Chinese characters in total. And there's actually a common misconception here. Many foreigners tend to equate the role of Chinese characters with that of the letters in English. Think of them as the basic elements of the language. English has only 26 letters, but Chinese has over 100,000 characters. So it seems daunting to learn. However, this is not quite accurate. Chinese characters are more similar to words in other languages rather than letters. So if we were to talk about the fundamental elements, I would say it is radicals in Chinese, and we have only 53 or plus minus radicals, just as 26 letters in English and 30 letters in German. So the difference is that in English, letters are phonemes, the basic units of sound, whereas in Chinese, radicals are the basic unit of writing. So each Chinese character is actually composed of these radicals. Chinese characters are equivalent to words in any other language. Of course, a single Chinese character can be used as a word, 2 characters can also form a word, and 3 characters sometimes can as well, and even 4 characters. Although there are over 100,000 Chinese characters, this is similar to how the Oxford Dictionary includes over 30,000 entries. Many of these words are not used in everyday life, or even seen at all. So it is totally the same with Chinese. So in a lifetime, a normal Chinese person averagely will encounter maximum about 3,000 to 8,000 characters, and with 3,000 to 4,000 frequently used basic vocabularies or characters in daily life. So this is comparable to any other language, huh? So once you master these basic 3,000 words or characters, you will have the fundamental ability to communicate with native Chinese speakers. So this sounds much more manageable, huh? And now we'll talk about the third point. Within a Chinese sentence, there are no spaces or gaps between the characters. What does it mean? So specifically, for example, when you look at English in a sentence, I am eating an apple. So there is always a space between each word, but Chinese looks different. So 我喜欢吃苹果. There are no spaces between the characters in Chinese. So as a result, many beginners, when faced with a sentence, starting by drawing vertical lines to divide which characters are grouped together and which form another group, determining the subject, predicate, and object. So we native speakers also went through this process when we were learning Chinese as children. Of course, now we have already been able to completely skip this step after a period of accumulation and experience. So this step is actually about accumulating the most basic vocabulary and understanding which characters are often combined together. From my observation, it takes about 3 to 6 months to get through this initial phase. That is to say, with continuous and effective learning for 3 to 6 months, this step will no longer be a barrier for you, and you will be able to read some B1 plus minus level articles relatively easily. Well, and these are 3 most challenging obstacles in learning Chinese. You see, I haven't mentioned grammar at all because Chinese grammar is quite simple. In Chinese, we don't have complex tenses. In German and English, there are over a dozen tenses and moods. The verbs constantly change forms. For example, I ate an apple yesterday. Ich habe gestern einen Apfel gegessen. Or I am eating an apple right now. Ich esse gerade einen Apfel. Or I will eat an apple tomorrow. Ich werde morgen einen Apfel essen. But in Chinese, eat is just eat. For instance, 我昨天吃了一个苹果。我现在正在吃一个苹果。我明天将要吃一个苹果。So the verb 吃 eat does not change according to the time point of the action's occurrence. We only need to determine the time based on the time indicators, and we will know the meaning. For instance, yesterday, today, tomorrow, right now, something like this. But eat is just eat. And additionally, in Chinese, there are no case changes. For example, 我爱你，我爱他，他爱我，你爱我. So its feelings like I love you, I love she love I, you love I. So you can see I, you, she remain the same. No changes in it. There are no her, there are no him, there are no me. Always I, you, she, he. Quite simple. And by the way, I'm a student with an engineering background, so my approach to learning language or any other skills is also rooted in pragmatism and utilitarianism. I always advocate learning what is needed in your real life rather than trying to cover everything broadly. Focus on conquering the most frequently used knowledge points, and that should be enough. Acquire the basic Chinese vocabulary as soon as possible and then hasten to further explore the world of China. Don't just lingo on the linguist level. Language is just like a vehicle. I look forward to you discovering the vibrant and rich cultural and spiritual world that lies behind the Chinese language. So I hope this video can provide you with a different perspective and help you get started with Chinese more efficiently and effectively and master it better. So this is all for today, and if you enjoyed today's content, please hit the like button or leave a comment below. Thank you so much once again, and see you guys in the next episode. Take care, ciao ciao!